All right. And it looks like we have gotten started. A little bit more delay on Lachurs' end. That happens. He's in Australia. So very early in the morning for him right now. There's about a 30-second cutscene at the start here, and then we'll get on into the actual gameplay. So, like I said, Wah is a little bit ahead on the leaderboards in terms of his PB. Lachurs is a little bit ahead in terms of the score that he needs to advance past the knockout round in the tournament.
Here I go.
And I believe they are both playing on the Nintendo DS, which means no RNG manipulation. So RNG manipulation is used to manipulate the red blocks that can go to various levels. You want it to go ideally to 1, 2 after this, so keep an eye out for where it goes for each of them. If they get good luck, they will have a chance at saving a trip to a mushroom house. Lachurs losing a little bit of time at the end there, messing up the triple jump setup. That is deceptively easy to do. Wah got the block. Looks like Lachurs did as well, so they are on pretty even footing as far as that goes, assuming they don't mess up the timing to get the blue shell. The blue shell is one of the key items in this game, and especially in this run. As you can see, it has this shell dash special. That moves slightly slower than your default running speed, so they're going to be using some tech in order to either speed it up or to just stay out of it when it's not necessary. Alright, we got things synced back up here. That's good. Anyway, the shell is needed to get the alternate exit in 1 tower, which is the next level they're going to be entering. And if you don't have a shell coming out of 1, 2, you are going to stop by the mushroom house and get one there. You'll only be seeing it if one of them, unfortunately, dies. It is very possible, in fact, I would say probably likely, that you'll see both of them at least start to go for a task cycle here. That is a very quick way of climbing this first section. Okay, Wah went for it, and Lachurs instead decided to get a backup Fire Flower, which is not a bad call. Wah looks like he is going to get Task Cycle, so that's going to give him a little bit of a lead. Lachurs, however, like I said, does have that backup Fire Flower, which is convenient in case he gets himself into a pickle at some point. And then in this room, you have to break these blocks. That is why you need the blue shell, and without it, you are unable to get the secret exit.
So nice.
They're both going to enter the cannon. Cannons are the hardest levels in the game. Joking aside, they're actually deceptively easy to mess up, as anyone who runs this game can tell you. And they're both going to be trying to keep their shell up through World 8. And if they lose the shell, it's not the end of the world. The most important thing has happened for them, which is getting that secret exit. But the shell is going to save time later on. Even if you don't do any tech with the shell, it's a little bit faster to keep the shell overall. But you can see they're doing a lot of tech here, staying out of the shell and just getting that little bit of extra speed that adds up over time.
So nice.
The fastest way to get to the cannon in World 5 is through this pipe here, so they're going to be taking the alternate exit in 5-2. 5-2 also happens to be one of the first levels where it's a little bit easier to lose the shell. There are a couple places where it can happen. You can reduce that risk by staying in Shell Dash a little bit more often, so we'll see how they handle. Lachurs getting bounced around in that section with all the piranhas. Oh, and taking a death. That is one of the big pitfalls of using the blue shell, is you can ricochet off things and keep your full speed. This is not the end of the race by any means. There's plenty of opportunity for him to make up time and for Wah to lose it as well. So this is this is still either of their race. But that is definitely a big loss for Lachurs. He's going to have to slow down a little bit here to safely make it past all those piranhas, since he elected not to get the rather annoying to get mushroom at the start of the level. There's another one here that he might grab, or he'll just go over it. Yeah, that's another one that's a little bit inconvenient to grab. Meanwhile, while using the shell dash to its full potential, it is possible to get in about past the 266 mark, but he just elected to slow down a little bit more at the end, since I believe there was a glitch that he went for to increase his shell speed that for a little bit that would have allowed him to get it, and he did not get it. So in this level, there is a second path. We'll see if Lachurs goes for it. It is over the top, and it is definitely faster if you do not have a shell. So, yeah, there he is. That's one of the two ways you can get into it. Looks like he's also picking up a fire flower. That is not a bad idea. Oh, he's not actually going up there. So, looks like he's doing a little bit of tech to get past these guys a little bit quicker anyway. Didn't quite get it. He wanted to bounce that acorn knight, whatever it's called, to the left instead of to the right. Oh, I'm taking another hit there. So, not going as well as he had hoped, for sure. Meanwhile, Wah is waiting on this little auto-scroller section. The only way to skip it is to be Mini Mario and wall jump, or to, I believe you could also potentially do a task way of getting up a bit quicker, but yeah, that is not something I would recommend. That is with the glitch that I may mention later, though it's doubtful that either of them is going to use it, since it is double frame perfect. So if Lachurs was able to keep his firepower into this level, that would have given him a pretty nice advantage in getting past these bruisers. And not having it, he's obviously having to be a little bit more careful.
Let me drive the boat.
Here I go.
8-1 with Shell is a level that's pretty much as difficult as you want to make it, like a lot of levels are with Shell. So there's a lot of stuff you can do to stay outside of Shell Dash state for extended periods of time, but unless you know what you're doing, it's very likely that you'll lose the shell. And even if you do know what you're doing, there's a good chance of it. So you can see he did a lot of bouncing off the crows and various enemies, keeping himself out of Shell Dash state, and that speeds it up a little bit. It's going to be a bit trickier for Lachurs because he's going to be entering the stage as Small Mario, and it is much easier to get hit if you do not have access to the shell, because there are several parts where if you mess up slightly but don't get hit, you can enter a Shell Dash state. The way the shell works also can be of a benefit in a couple places. But you might see him pick up a power-up here after this first pumpkin. Looks like he's just going to go through it. He probably knows what he's doing since he's has a fair amount of experience with this game, but it's still a slightly risky thing. That switch that MoistenedWah hit is also technically unnecessary, but that requires a shelled unmorph jump, which is a double frame perfect trick because you need to get a frame perfect input, and you also need to unmorph on the exact frame that your vertical speed equals 0. Wah getting a quick exit there, going in between those skeeters. Very nice. Lachurs is going to lose a little bit of time with the swimming here because you swim faster with the shell. He's also grabbing his backup flower now, and probably going to get another backup one at some point in this level. Look, yeah, it looks like he's doing it right. 8 Tower is one of the harder stages in the run, I would say. You saw Wah miss that initial cycle there, and now he's not happy. He missed 2 cycles because he tried to get kind of a half cycle later on, but he tried to at least make the same cycle on that one platform and then just fell. That is really easy to do, and you also have to be mindful that you have the shell to not enter shell dash when you do not want to be in that state. And then doing a little momentum trick there to try to skip in this section that he got pushed through a little bit quicker so he would be able to shell dash through it, but he was a little bit early on it. He got the setup, but the other platform cycle was just not in his. Now let's see how he handles the boss fight. He's going to be going for a quick kill here. Nicely done. So correctly timing those hits allows him to get a 3-hit cycle on Bowser Jr. there with the mask. I would say the first hit is actually the most difficult, but that might just be my experience. You know, Lachurs is getting pushed through there. He's going to have a slight advantage if he manages to maintain his firepower through the boss. That'll be slightly lessened if he doesn't, but even then he still has a backup flower. But it is very easy to quickly kill Bowser Jr. with firepower. However, he's going to lose more time coming up on this stage, 8-3, that Wah just entered. So Wah here, having the shell in this water level, is going to save him about 10 seconds-ish. The reason it's only that much is because of these pipes here that are shooting out currents. In order to gain maximum speed from them, for the longest period of time, you actually don't want to press right, but the way the shell works underwater doesn't quite give you the same benefit. It's just that the shell overall is faster, so that definitely mitigates the time loss for Lachurs. He was definitely hoping for a blue shell there from that block, or from that, no, that would have been a Hammer Brother. I was kind of looking at Wah's screen. But because of these currents, and if he takes advantage of them for the longest period of time by not pressing right when he is above a kind of a soft speed cap, the game will not slow him down as quickly as it would otherwise. While intentionally losing his shell there because he doesn't need it anymore, there are 2 routes through the end of the game. One of them keeps shell through 8 into 8-8, the other one goes fire. And fire is slightly faster, but some people think it's harder. I'm actually more used to it, so I would disagree, but that's kind of personal preference anyway. So by not holding right until he pretty much gets right back down to that speed cap, Lachurs is making up a lot of the speed that he loses by not having the shell. Wah is also ducking on these platforms in order to avoid pixel stops, one of the more annoying mechanics in this game. Don't know how intentional it all is, but if you land on the edge of a platform, you are supposed to be stopped instantly. Okay, that's fine. But it also happens annoyingly often, even if you don't hit the edge, on these moving platforms. Ducking goes a very long way towards helping prevent that. So that's why he's doing it. Eight Castle is a fairly simple level. Not hard to die in, but also not hard to execute, so it's kind of a trap level in that regard. Then there's going to be Dry Bones Bowser. He's just going to jump over him and hit the switch. It's not hard at all. So across this bridge, you enter a section that we like to refer to as the Gauntlet, because there are 4 levels, all of them tricky in their own
Let me
way,
try to.
followed by a tower. And, ooh, Lachurs just taking a death there. He's not going to have to do the first part of the stage, fortunately, but he just looks like he just tried to jump before he landed, which is easy to do when you're trying to jump as soon as you land. So he's going to get his Fire Flower back there, just as Wah does in 8.5. 8.5 is a really fun, fast-paced level. There's a lot of bounces you can do off Koopas, or you can do other tech like you're seeing him do, where he's doing a little bit more duck jumping and things like that. It's a really fun level that you can style and also diet, and has no midpoint, so that's another thing that can come and bite you.
So nice.
And now, what we're going to hope for is, for both of these runners, that their power-up block and their hammer brother do not cross the bridge. So that is completely random, and it loses you a good 3+ seconds each time it happens. It is never a good feeling when that happens, because it can happen over and over, and just, you lose time every single time it happens. Nicely handling the wall jumps there for Wah. The wall jumps are the tricky part of the tech in this stage, as well as kind of managing your speed through a certain point so that you're able to hit the gaps the way you want to and gain height.
So nice.
And there's one bridge cross. Lachurs taking a hit, but otherwise getting a solid level. And here we're going to see Wah, because he has firepower, go for a strat called Fire Hops. He pans the camera for later, so that the Troopa's positions are in a certain place, and he uses the fireball throwing animation to cancel grabbing onto the ledges, and then immediately jump, and that maintains his momentum. It's kind of a tricky strat, but it also looks really cool, and obviously is fast, so good thing to do.
So nice.
Now, 8.8 is kind of a RNG type stage, because there are these bombs, essentially volcanic bombs, that fall from the sky, rocks, whatever, and you don't want to get hit by them, ideally. Additionally, there is a star and a hidden block right here, and in order to get that star to spawn, the moment you hit it, you cannot have it be inside of one of those rocks. If there is a rock there when you hit it,
So nice.
it will completely despawn the block and the star. If the star starts to spawn and then the block gets destroyed, that's fine, because the star will continue coming out. Lachurs not going for fire hops that are just missing it. Not the end of the world, it only saves a small amount of time, even if it is cool. Eight Tower 2. Oh, and that's something that is also deceptively easy to do. That pipe there, it is all too easy to either try to enter too early or too late, or both, and just run right off to your death. We have all done it. That death, by the way, was intentional. In order to get the block snake to catch up with him more quickly, he uses the firepower to get farther into the stage, then hit the midpoint and intentionally die, so that the fire block snake obviously just respawns right there. And that saves a little over 10 seconds. It's pretty nice. Lachurs just having to deal with bad RNG there. There wasn't any way he could have avoided that. Oh, and then the star despawns. Oh man, that is unfortunate. So, the RNG is definitely not being kind to him. He's going to have to be careful. And yeah, so that's what you don't want to see out of 8-8. In pretty much every single facet. First, he takes a hit that he can't avoid. Oh man. Going back to get the star, and yeah, this is really unfortunate. And then, oh man, those boulders, just the pattern there, trying to grab that star was not friendly.
So nice.
But that is a good example of why we call it the gauntlet, honestly, because that kind of thing can happen in any level, really. Even in 8 Tower 2, if you just mess up one of the jumps, you can take damage where you don't want to. You can miss the midpoint and then die, or you can die even before hitting the midpoint. So there's plenty of chance for spaghetti throughout that entire section. MoistenedWah entering Bowser's Castle on pretty good pace. So looks like he's in very good shape to cement his way out of the knockout stage, or into the knockout stage, out of the group stage, into the knockout stage. I can brain. Sorry, I was up very early this morning. Taking a little damage to get past that giant womp faster. He's going to take another hit here intentionally to get through that section quickly, and that is going to allow him to slightly more easily navigate this section. It is technically risky because you can just bonk that wall at the end there or jump a little too high and get hit by that womp. Now he's going to do a little wall jump setup here to hit... Okay, he wanted to land up on those gray blocks instead of getting shot down. That happens sometimes, though. Now he's going to hit the midpoint, and there's going to be a slight maze section. Obviously, we all know the solution to it, so he's just going to run through it quickly. It's a little bit easier to do as Small Mario, because there are a couple jumps that otherwise you have to make duck jumps. It's not that much harder, but it is kind of nice to go through there as Small Mario, because you don't even have to worry about it. And, okay, Bowser Jr. did a medium stare there. That is not too bad. There's a manipulation for how long he looks at you before he goes into the animation to toss Bowser into the pot. That was found recently. That is to pan the camera and do a triple jump to the fight. And that is time for Wah. Nicely done on his part. Getting the quick kill, bouncing off of Bowser Jr. over Bowser, and hitting the switch. And no matter how fast Lachurs finishes Bowser's Castle here, Wah is definitely going to get the points he needs to advance. A little bit more tech that I didn't quite mention the last time is Lachurs is going to pan the camera to the right in this loop. So that makes these flamethrowers spawn a little bit sooner and just allows him to get past them a little bit faster because they go out sooner. And that's what you want to happen, is to land on the dark gray blocks there after hitting the switch and having the room rotate. It saves a couple seconds because otherwise you kind of have to jump up or even jump around depending on how you hit the switch. Alright, let's see if Lachurs can get the quick kill as well. He does. Nicely done. Alright. Looks like they both joined the interview, so we'll get them in here and see what they have to think about the race.
Oh god,
Yeah.
I blame it on being tired. There we go. I'm not usually up at 7 in the morning.
Well, neither am I, and I was this morning,
Yeah.
and I would say the same thing about my play, so...
Yeah. I mean, like, we were supposed to do this match at like 5 a.m., but then I slept through it last time. That was a bit of a cringe moment. Basically, alright. I played like mediocre, I guess. I mean, like I didn't have any deaths or like really bad mistakes. It's just I made like 5 movement mistakes, but they were all like pretty cringe. They were quite like drastic. Like that one in like I lost like 30 seconds in 8 tower. But other than that, like the run was decent. Like without that, a low 23.
Yeah, that I could tell you were really not happy about falling in 8 tower after you did it.
Yeah, I was.
Ah,
I tried to back it up too, but
yeah.
I was antsy
Mhm.
and I jumped too early, and I never make that mistake in practice. I like always back it up properly in practice. So the moment I missed that wall kick, I was just like in ultimate tilt mode. I just had to like recompose
Ult-
myself.
Did you die in 5-2?
No, I didn't die in 5-2. I had
Did you die in at the end of 6-8 castle?
nah. I had some. I was actually on
Did you
gold pace
die
out
in
of
the
room
end
2.
of
I
8,
was
7?
kind of sad because I was on gold pace into whatever the thing. I also forgot to do Bowser's Stair Manip. I need to actually
you-
like get used to doing that.
Did you did the star despawn on you? So you had to run through as small Mario in 8-8 and then die trying to get another star so you can do it again.
Yeah,
No, you didn't. I did.
yeah. Your run was kind of unfortunate. Just a little bit of spaghetti here and there in the wrong
It's still
place.
sub 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hey, I did a marathon run super early. I literally woke up, did the run, and then went back to bed. And my play was not good either, so I can totally empathize with you, Lodge.
Dude, I have to
Yeah.
go to work after this.
I probably would not have played well at the 5 a.m. match, so there's a little bit of that. I think part of it was that I just wanted redemption for the Walrus match where I died in Bowser's Castle. Like, I didn't really care that much about winning. It's like, just if I don't die in Bowser's Castle, I will be happy. Because it's not a mistake I want to be making consistently.
Oh well.
Definitely.
That's the first race in a while I've felt like I actually did not completely have a meltdown.
That's my first 100 like 0-point game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, congratulations on getting the points you needed to advance WA. Condolences, Lachurs. We are both knocked out.
Yeah. I mean, third in my group isn't bad. At least I beat someone.
Yeah.
So
I
I
would have
get to
beaten
face
Walrus.
off.
I would have beaten Walrus had I have not saved by accident in World 5.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So that one was a really good race. You definitely had
So,
a couple
yeah.
good moments here.
we're gonna have at some point like a pretty epic rematch between me and Walrus, where I'll probably make some extremely cringe mistake and lose again. But yeah,
Rightio. I think that bids us adieu. I don't think there's
All
any more
right.
matches scheduled. Considering we're actually going into finals now. I think we were the last match to play.
Yeah,
Who's in
there's.
finals aside from me? Because I think it's Pidgey and Yipley and Walrus and me,
All right.
right?
Let me pull it up. We have
Or
We
is
don't
Josh,
know the
Glitch-
finals yet.
Josh and Yipley from Group A. You and Walrus from Group. In Group C, we have Glitchman and J-Dude, and then Group D looks like Pidgey and Miko are going to win that one because Adokiba and Sander Nor are probably just not going to do their match since neither of them has a chance to make the knockout
I
rounds.
think they did their match offline. And I think Sander forfeited.
Okay.
So yeah, all right. So I
Oh.
guess that was a pretty decent race.
Make sure to follow the runners and the commentators.
Yeah.
And real quick, before we go, remember that you can go to speedgaming.org and check out all the fun things that the various speed gaming channels have to offer. Tonight, in about 20 minutes, we have a Link to the Past randomizer crowd control race on the main channel, Star Wars Episode
Between
1 Racer on Speed Gaming
Rick and
2
James.
and on Speed Gaming 3. On Speed Gaming 3, there is Azure Dreams, and there's a bunch of stuff tomorrow, some of which has not been assigned to a channel, but we've got lots of fun stuff here. So go check that out if you want, speedgaming.org/schedule. You can also check out the various events at speedgaming.org/events, and be sure to follow all the Speed Gaming channels.
Yep.
I'm gonna play Mario vs Luigi.
With that, thanks for the race, and we will bid you adieu.
All right.